It's not as part of our everyday life as it was in the past, but there are a lot of benefits, and we tend to underappreciate them. But research is showing that just being in nature, like 20 minutes a day or 2 hours a week, is associated with significantly greater self-reported health and well-being. We're just naturally attuned to what's going on in the environment. It's kind of an effortless attention. We hear something and we look, so we're just kind of naturally regulating our attention, and that's really restorative. In particular, there's this one aspect of being in nature that's kind of cool. It's called grounding. And this is actually like putting your bare feet on the ground, or making skin contact with the earth itself, or swimming in the ocean or a natural body of water. It's thought that something about the electromagnetic energy of the earth and our bodies interacting is helpful. Studies show improved sleep, normalization of cortisol levels, like the stress hormone, decreased levels of inflammation, decreased psychological stress. So if you can't really get out to a nature area, just finding like a patch of grass and just taking off your shoes and standing in the ground and just kind of breathing, doing like a little standing meditation. The trees emit oils, so it's kind of like natural aromatherapy, and those chemicals interact with our own hormones in our body and can help regulate our physiology. Something about kind of the chemicals being emitted from the plants and the trees themselves is helpful. Especially if you see the sky, if you have a view, that's kind of soothing. Having kind of an open vista can be, very relaxing. Just the natural regulation of attention, just because we're hearing and seeing things. So we're just kind of naturally curious. So we're kind of more in the present moment, and we're letting go of our like ruminating thoughts about the past and the future. And we're just more attending to what's in front of us. One type of meditation we can do is like a tree meditation. So just kind of picking some tree that you like and that you can approach, and touch without danger, and just bringing all of your senses to bear, just like touching it, noticing all of the details, the bark, the texture and how that changes, noticing the smells, noticing how it impacts you and your body, as you touch it, as you breathe. Or doing like an open space or a sky meditation. So just kind of maybe laying on the ground or laying in a chair and looking up and just looking into the sky, kind of tapping into that spacious nature of our own being as well, and feeling that we're part of something bigger, vaster than our normal small worlds, So kind of letting go of those thoughts that limit our perceptions of who we are. I think a lot of people find meaning in nature. They have lots of insights, and nature is kind of a metaphor for understanding how to live life in a way, and realizing, that the more we try to hold on to things, that the more we suffer, So appreciating the sense of impermanence and change, that's inherent part of life. Things like noticing the change of the seasons, like when fall comes, seeing the leaves drop, having a sense of needing to let go, and a sense of rejuvenation, with winter and then spring, new life kind of coming up. And just kind of being in touch with the life cycle, the daily life cycle of, the sun rising and falling, and being able to be in harmony with that is beneficial for our own health. So becoming more in sync with the rhythms of nature on a daily basis, on a seasonal basis, is helpful for balance. So I think there's a deep connection that nature can naturally support our meditation in that way. And when we're stuck in our little four, sided rooms, it's easy to feel disconnected, and that's stressful, because we are connected, but it's easy to forget that. And being outside, it's like our bodies know that on some deep level. Our energy knows that. Our being knows it. So being outside and just being, not doing anything, then we're getting in touch with more of the foundation of our being, of who we are, that allows all of this other activity to take place. So spending a few minutes just to tap into that kind of fundamental aspect of who we are is rejuvenating.